Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. I forgot my mic.
Yeah, it is. Good sound effect, though.
Welcome back to the third segment of the TD show this morning. I hope you enjoyed my vocal guitar that we had there. We've got
good.
We've been on the NCAA tournament all morning, and now we have a guest on the line with us who's an NCAA tournament himself, former EKU Colonel, and now current Metcalfe County High School teacher, and
Burkesville Bomber,
big baseball fan,
John Allen. Are you there, John? So what is the closest you ever came to making the NCAA tournament at Eastern while you were there?
My sophomore year, we made it to the conference finals against Murray State. And unfortunately, I took a pretty good beating. So that was about as close. It was tied when the game started. So it was as close.
Double digits bad?
What's that?
Was it double digits bad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It's the only game that I ever played that was on ESPN, too, so.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, can you remember vaguely what your stat line was that game?
I remember I had a decent game, but some of our seniors didn't have credit to the game, so that's kind of the way I remember it.
Did you say it was your sophomore year?
Yeah. We'd actually split with them during the season. I remember they beat us at our place, and I don't remember what the score was. I think they beat us pretty good, but then we beat them at their place. I remember the score was 100-90. We beat them at their place.
Was there ever a year going into the OVC where you were sure you knew that year y'all were making the NCAA tournament?
No, we were never. We were always, competitive. We made it to the semifinals my freshman and junior year. We actually were tied for the conference championship my junior year. So
the regular season.
Two of the 4 years we got beat by Murray State, and my freshman year we got beat by Middle Tennessee, and my senior year we got beat by Moorhead, who we beat twice during the regular season. They beat us in overtime.
Hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year.
It is. There were some really good players in the league when I was there. I mean, there was Carlos Rogers that played at Tennessee State that was drafted in the top 10 by the Raptors, and then Popeye Jones at Murray State that I think he played like 12 seasons in the NBA. So it was a lot of good competition when I was there.
Is there a game in the OVC tournament that you can remember where it was probably your best game or you had the best stat line, one that sticks out to you?
No, I can't really remember. I remember the Murray State game when I was a junior. That was probably the best chance I thought we had of probably winning, other than my sophomore year and junior year both. I felt we had a really good chance because we beat everybody at least once that we were going to play in the tournament. So, but it didn't work out. My junior year we got beat, I think, by 1 or 2 points.
Do you know how many times Eastern has made the conference tournament? I mean, we made the NCAA tournament, won their conference tournament.
It had been like since in the 70s since they had been, but since then they've been this time this year. I think it's the third time in the last probably 10 years that they've been.
Yeah, I think
04 maybe when Travis Ford was there.
Yeah,
they did. They went in 04 and lost to Kentucky in the first round.
Yeah,
and they went since then.
Neuheiser, the coach, said now he's took them twice.
Yeah.
Do you think that this year's EKU team was an all-around better team than any of the teams that you were on?
I think so. They have better guard play, and I think that's key to getting in there. I don't know. My junior year, we had a big team. We had a really good big guy, and
was his name John Allen?
Guards.
Was the big guy's name John Allen?
No, we had a 6'11" post player. That he did a lot of the hard work. He was pretty good. The game I remember when we beat Murray at Murray, he had 20 points and 20 rebounds.
Well, that ain't bad. Is there a team today that you pull against or root against because of an incident when you played?
Murray State is probably the team that I like the least of any team we play against.
Just because of them beating you in the OVC tournament, or is there more to the story?
No, it's just they've always been the perennial team of the conference, I guess, and we had some heated battles in the numbers of years that we played. That was probably the team we had the least success against in all the 4 years.
Now, you all played Kentucky while you were at Eastern, correct?
Yes.
What year in school were you then?
We played them all 4 years.
You played them all
Every
4
year.
years.
Yeah.
Could you just give us a little recap of the games against Kentucky?
We got beat pretty good, except for my junior year. That was the year we were leading, I think, with 2 minutes to go.
Winning with 2 minutes to go.
It would have been the first game after they got beat by Duke on the last second shot in the NCAA tournament. It was the very first game the next season.
Is that right? And y'all were leading with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. And that was the worst game that I played in all the 4 years that we played against. It was probably one of the worst games I played in all 4 years that I played in college. I fouled out with like 14 minutes to go.
Wow.
6 points.
What was the best game you had against them?
Probably my freshman year. I think I had like 12 points my freshman year.
You guarded Jamal Mashburn 1 year, right?
That was my junior year. Might have been why I fouled out.
That might have had something to do with it.
What was
I
the
think
best
he
team you
had
ever
like
played?
36 points and I think 12 rebounds that game.
Was that the best team you ever played, John, or who was the best team you ever played against? Any team ever in college?
We played some really good teams. That was a good team. I mean, all the Kentucky teams we played were good. We played Mississippi State the year they went to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
We played Louisville. My senior year, we played Louisville, Indiana, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, UNLV.
Y'all played a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah, that's a rough schedule for the Ohio Valley Conference.
And we took some beatings, but probably made some good money for the school. So.
Well, you were trying to get your strength of schedule up to make the tournament.
Yeah.
Get in a large bid.
Yeah.
Had you just won those games, you would have been in good shape.
Oh, yeah. The only thing, I saw a stat yesterday when they were playing that I think they were over for the last 25 against power conferences. I think they said Eastern was.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far that goes back, but we beat Miami when I was a sophomore. Miami of Florida. We played in the San Juan shootout, and we beat Miami in the semifinals. So I don't know if that then they were in the ACC at the time.
Yeah. We were talking about your son Jax earlier, filling out his bracket and having Eastern Kentucky winning. I'm sure you filled out a bracket. How is yours looking after the first round?
It's looking kind of rough. I'm just to some early round games. I haven't lost in my Final Four teams.
How many did you get right out of the 32 the first round?
I can't remember exactly. Maybe 21.
Well, you're on board with Daniel, man. He's at 21.
I had 22, and TJ had 27, 26.
Yesterday.
Who's your 4 Final Four teams?
I have Louisville, Arizona, Michigan State, and Florida.
Well, you still look good as of right now.
Yeah, TJ has 2 left.
The team that really I had going out of the way was probably Duke.
They'll break your heart.
Yeah,
a lot can change today and tomorrow. We'll see.
Today, have you looked at the bracket? To me, it looks like the bracket that Michigan State's in is just garbage. There's nobody very good in there except for Michigan State. And the top right bracket is kind of the same thing. There's no, I mean, Arizona, who's been okay this year, but I don't think deserves their number one team. I think that the Florida bracket and the Wichita State bracket are probably twice as difficult to get through as the Virginia bracket and Arizona bracket.
Yeah. Well, I think that they feel like they need to. They can't be East Coast biased as much and probably get accused of that. So I'm sure that's probably why they gave Arizona. So they've been a perennial top seed for the last few years, except for the last couple.
Yeah, they got to give somebody a good seed out west, and there ain't much to choose from.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still a lot of parity. I went through, some of the competitions you can pick a round by round, and I picked the second round games this morning, and probably, I think I only picked like 4 upsets. So it's, just looking at them, it's still, and I'm sure there'll probably be more upsets than that.
All right, well, we appreciate you joining us this morning, John.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right, thank you, buddy.
All right, see you later.
That's John Allen we had there, former Eastern Kentucky Colonel, Burkesville Bomber, All-Century Team, EKU Hall of Famer. He's got his Final Four alive, so he's still looking
he's better than us.
A heck of a lot better than him. And he got a lot closer to making the NCAA tournament than we ever did.
We do know someone who made the NCAA tournament at Eastern.
Doug
Clemens.
Doug.
I don't remember what year. It was in the 60s. But they did make the NCAA tournament while he was there. I know they got killed, he said. I don't even know who they played.
I bet there wasn't 64 teams.
No. I've been told the story, but I can't remember who they lost to.
Can't remember who they played?
Yeah.
All right, so moving away from college basketball now, we only got about 50 minutes left in the show. We want to get to a little bit of baseball and football before the day's over. Thursday night, I guess, maybe it was Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, yeah.
The Chapman, the closer for the Reds, a really nasty incident there in Arizona. Threw a fastball, line drive right back at him, hits him in the forehead at 110 miles per hour, just instantly goes down. His father and the GM, Walt Jocketty, come out to the mound. Marty Brenneman, the voice of the Reds on 700 WLW, is brought to tears. There's not a sound in the entire stadium except for the ambulance coming.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. He ends up having to have a titanium plate put into his forehead. They cut his head at the top and just brought the skin down from his head, inserted the titanium plate.
But they say he's going to be back in a couple months.
Yeah. They said he was lucky. It could have been a lot worse than it was. But
was he facing a right-handed batter or a left-handed batter?
Right.
Do you remember?
Right.
Because, it's not something that you see a lot. It's something that you think you would see more often. Most of the time, a pitcher can block it or at least turn away from it.
Yeah, with his delivery.
That's the way he leans over. That's why I was wondering if it was a right-handed batter or a left-handed batter.
And the ball goes past third base after it hits him in the forehead. Pena instantly runs out there. As soon as it goes off his forehead, Pena's leaving the catch down from the catcher's position halfway out there to him. Just a bad situation. And the team doctor came out and said yesterday, through all this, Brian Price or nobody ever asked, when will he be back?
Huh.
The thing was, is he going to be okay?
Right.
And that's kind of been the trend with the Reds here the past month. Latos is going to start the year on the DL. We thought maybe he'd be ready for opening day. It looks like he won't be. Broxton, who would have been the closer, is going to start the year on the DL, so we'll have to go closer by committee with Ondrusik, Marshall, Hoover, maybe LeCure.
I was going to say, you got Sam McClure and you've got Big O. The both have been coming and been set up men, but with the way that Price is going to pitch and going to work it, I think that it'll be okay to bring maybe both of them in a game. He'll bring one in the 7th, maybe one in the 8th, and you can get a good inning or two out of either one of them.
And you got Cueto and Bailey, who both made minor league starts over the past 2 days. Not real sure what they'll be doing at the beginning of the season. They've already announced that Simon will be on the starting rotation to begin the year, so you're in trouble when you get that announcement. So a team that looked so good a month ago, now you wonder, are we even going to be able to get healthy and win the division and be in competition?
The exact same thing with the Atlanta Braves, who I follow pretty closely.
Yeah, the Braves should open up a Tommy John's clinic in their clubhouse.
But I mean, that's one thing that we didn't think we had anything to worry about was our rotation. We thought we were very set in our rotation. Now we've got Medlin with his second Tommy John's, Brandon Beachy, who was our third or fourth, depends on what week it is, guy in the rotation getting Tommy John. So we have brought in Santana, which will relieve some of that pressure. But of course Hudson is not there anymore. So we'll see what happens.
At this point, you got to wish you still had Hudson on your team.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you let him walk because he was asking for a lot of money that you didn't really want to spend because you had a surplus of arms anyways at the time.
At the time, we had more arms than we needed. And I thought that was a good move. I mean, I hated to see Hudson go. Been there for a long time. But it's one of those things that they've been committed to preserving their young talent, committed to keeping them around, locking up these guys for 7-8 year deals. But that's what happens when you have this young talent. You don't know when they're going to get injured, what they're going to get injured. They say once you have Tommy John's, your arm's stronger than ever. But we've got two repeat offenders here. I don't know.
As weak as the East is, though, you still got to think that you get a wild card.
Yeah,
seed,
I mean,
no matter
you've got
what.
the Nationals to deal with.
Right.
The Phillies have not been the Phillies.
The Phillies and the Mets and the Marlins are
going to
be bad.
The Marlins are trying to do some things. They're spending some money trying to bring some people in. I just still don't think that they can beat them. So you've got the Nationals. So you're going to be the 1 or 2 seed, I think, in the East.
But with the Reds, with the Brewers and the Pirates knocking on the door, and then you got the Cardinals,
who are always good, and the Pirates. So, the Reds division has quickly become the toughest division in baseball.
So I mean, if they're not healthy starting out at the beginning of the year, they could very easily dig themselves
they could
quick hole,
fall into a big hole. Yep.
Which will be hard to come out of in that division. I know you have some NFL free agency news for us.
Well, I thought we'd have 2 weeks to talk about this, but of course we weren't here last week.
Right.
So, I mean, there's been so many transactions that have happened in NFL free agency. I mean, we'll talk about some of the big ones first. The quarterbacks, Michael Vick, who was
that's a big signing.
The biggest
biggest
name,
Sanchez, and signed Michael Vick.
Yeah, the Jets let go. Sanchez signed Vick. I don't know how much. He's a good guy to have on your roster. He's not a starting quarterback anymore. I mean, he's going to give you 6 or 7 games. He's going to come in and do some situational stuff with you. I don't know. Josh McCown went to Tampa Bay.
You know what the worst thing about the Michael Vick signing is? About how underrated Sanchez is. I mean, that offense while he's been there has been terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, terrible. And he put up decent numbers. So you got to think he gets a chance maybe somewhere else. I mean, at least gets signed as a backup somewhere.
And Michael Vick's counterpart, Kevin Kolb, he's a free agent, hasn't been signed anywhere yet. He might re-sign.
Remember when he had those 3 games with 300-plus yards and he was the next big thing? That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick signed with Houston.
I saw that, yeah.
I don't think he's the guy that you want to build.
He's a quarterback I want to stay away from.
Yeah.
I'd have Kevin Kolb.
He's someone to have on your team, I guess.
I really, really like Josh McCown. Think he could be really good at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets were interested in Josh McCown. I think they made an offer even to Josh McCown, but decided to go with Michael Vick. I'm sorry, I don't know the number of what his deal was, the amount. Brandon Whedon goes to Dallas, and I don't understand that a bit. Whatever.
I saw a picture of Tony Romo and Jason Garrett wearing Duke shirts at the Duke game, and they said that's what did them in. When Tony Romo and Jason Garrett showed up wearing your uniform, you got the bad luck coming.
Moving on to some running backs. Ben Tate went to Cleveland. Rashad Jennings signed with
Ben Tate, really good running back.
Signed with the Jets. Here's a team I want to talk a little bit about, and that's Oakland. They've spent more money than anybody this offseason.
They had it to spend also.
Yeah, but if anybody has brought in players that could make a difference, it would be Oakland. Of course, they signed Darren McFadden back. That's a non-factor to me.
Man,
but their defense,
what a disappointing season he had last year, though. Really thought he'd be one of the top running backs in the game, and really never showed
he didn't
up.
have an opportunity, and we're going to talk about that. They've really tried to beef up their line. They've signed about, I think, 3 offensive linemen. They've signed 4 or 5 players on the defensive side. Of course, they're going to have some picks, so we'll see what happens. Noshawn Marino's still up for grabs. Maurice Jones-Drew's still up for grabs. Do you think Noshawn will be back in Denver?
I would sure like to think so. Maurice Jones-Drew, really good running back, though.
Yeah.
Any news on where he might go?
No, I would imagine that this late in the game they're going to try and sign and trade him. I don't think that. I don't know what they would do.
Bringing in a new young quarterback like Manziel, you'd want a good quality back there. Seems like you'd want to keep him in Jacksonville.
We're going to see if they bring in Manziel. I've heard a lot more people leaning towards Bortles going there. Well, we know they traded their quarterback for a 6th-round draft pick, which they're going to do something.
Seems like if you've got that line and you have to have attendance now or you're not going to be there.
Right.
You have to sign Manziel.
We'll see what happens. Jacksonville also signed Toby Gerhart for 3 years, $10.5 million. So we'll see if they want to hang on to Maurice Jones-Drew now. They've got another guy in the backfield, Willis McGahee, Phillip Tanner, Kevin Smith, all still available. I was actually only trying to highlight Willis McGahee on this list. I know nothing about Phillip Tanner or Kevin Smith. I mean, I know who they are, but I can't tell you anything about where they're going or where they've been. In the wide receiver department, this is where Denver's gave up a little bit. Eric Decker signed with the Jets. So the Jets have Michael Vick and Eric Decker coming in.
I tell you what, if you think Eric Decker is anywhere near as good as he was with Peyton Manning with Michael Vick, you're crazy.
I mean, he was a good. Was he a $36 million guy? I don't know. He was a good guy. He was a good second receiver.
Right.
I don't think that he's going to be able to go to the Jets and make that big of a deal.
Hakeem Nicks to Indianapolis.
Yeah, Hakeem Nicks to Indianapolis. This is something that shocked me here. Golden Tate, who said he was happy being a Seahawk, wanted to stay there, would take less money to stay
give him
there.
a hometown discount.
Goes to Detroit.
Yeah.
You don't go to Detroit unless it's only about money. You don't go to Detroit for any reason but to have money.
I don't know. You got Matt Stafford and Megatron there. I mean,
I wouldn't go to Detroit. You don't want to go live in Detroit.
I think that's a big addition for them.
Oh, I think it helps Detroit a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what it helps for Golden Tate. Steve Smith, we know, got released from Carolina.
Was upset about it, too.
Yeah, he's came back and apologized.
Man, have you the 5 receivers for Cam Newton next year don't have 5 career catches combined.
I know. I was reading that.
There was, I want to say 163 different instances last year where receivers caught more than 5 catches in a game. What are they doing? Are they trying? I mean, after you've made all these steps forward with
I don't know who would they be going after if they're trying to tank? I mean, who are they going to get?
Unless they plan on drafting just 4 or 5 unreal wide receivers that nobody knows about.
Maybe they know something we don't know. But they're not giving Cam Newton a lot. He has done his part.
Oh,
He's changed his game from a run first quarterback to a pass first quarterback.
I mean, they've taken steps in the right direction.
He has, but I don't know. James Jones signs with Oakland. Emmanuel Sanders coming to Denver.
Speed guy.
Replacing Eric Decker to give him a little more outside threat. Riley Cooper, who had a lot of controversy at the beginning of the year. Apparently, they've worked over it. They gave him a 5-year.
He had a really good year.
Oh yeah, and that's what everyone said it would take to get over this was coming out and
he did it
and playing ball,
getting $25 million.
Dexter McCluster goes to Tennessee. I haven't had a chance to talk to Lucas from center about that, but he's going to be a return guy. He's not really much of a receiver. I mean, he's a good return guy. He's a decent receiver.
What about Dallas letting Miles Austin walk?
Yeah.
That was kind of surprising.
He's still available if anybody wants him, and Kenny Britt's available.
I don't think anybody wants Kenny Britt. I mean, Miles Austin has been injury prone, but
I can see Miles Austin being a fit in Tennessee if they had money on him, and that's somewhere I'd like to look into him going. Andre Caldwell re-signs with Denver. Santana Moss staying at Washington. No big news there. Well, we know Jimmy Graham was franchise tagged. The big deal about that was he was franchise tagged as a tight end, but he wanted to be franchise tagged as a receiver because he lines up as a receiver more than 65% of the time. but it actually wasn't his choice, and it wasn't his team's choice. It was a player association's choice, and that's something I thought was crazy. That neither him or the team has a say
Did I see
in that.
Pitta and Pettigrew both re-signed there? Baltimore and Detroit, two big good re-signings, keeping them there. Pitta, you saw when he got hurt with Baltimore, they were a completely different team.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason I didn't highlight it because I didn't think there was any chance that they weren't going to re-sign Bob Pitta.
I think they
there.
saw how important he was last year.
Yeah. I guess we're going to run out of time. We're going to have 30 minutes left in the show when we come back. We're going to touch on a few other big NFL transactions. Definitely going to be talking about something you can cook to make yourself to eat while you're watching NCAA basketball. I've got a little outdoor news.
The best new part of the show. Five random questions.
5 random questions, which I forgot about until just now. But
well, that's not good.
We'll be back in 5 minutes. I've got them wrote down. Don't worry.